Okay, so here's my CUT50 plasma cutter from China, as it says on this side there. So what do you get with it? Piece of hose for connecting your air lines up, a bag with a plasma torch in it, and cables and some consumable parts for the cutting torch. Also, you get a regulator. I noticed this one hasn't got a pressure gauge for the actual regulator, so you've got to use the one on the front of the machine. Also, there's one of these pneumatic coupling fittings for the vinyl tubing, and a couple of these air fittings to connect the hoses to the regulator. User manual and a ground cable. Okay, so here's the CUT50 plasma cutter. It's quite a nice little unit. I did have one similar to this a few years back, and that was a CUT30 plasma cutter, and that lasted me about, I think I had it for about 2 years before it finally died. I think that was mainly my fault, because inside it was completely filled up with dust and crap, and that's probably what killed it. Right, so first thing to fit is the actual regulator, and fit the fittings to the regulator. It comes supplied with these two small barb hose type fittings which fit into the regulator. You need one either side. Yeah, I got one of these here for my air compressor which fits directly to it, so I'm going to be fitting that on this side rather than one of these barbs, so I don't have to keep trailing air hoses around with it. My one didn't come with a pressure gauge for the back. It actually come with this pneumatic fitting, so I'm going to have to fit that in there, and then from here it's going to go to the actual pressure gauge on the front of the unit. I've seen that most of them, they come with a pressure gauge on the back as well, on the actual regulator, but obviously they're trying to save a little bit more money by not adding a extra pressure gauge. Not that you really need it. It's got one on the front, so yeah. And you need to take these rubber bungs out. All these are for is just keep the crap out of the regulator basically while it's being shipped. And then you need one of these barbed hose fittings, and then hopefully you've got some PTFE tape, because you're going to want that, because if not these will leak like a sieve. This stuff's pretty cheap, and you want to preferably wind it on the right way round as well, which is I think it's this way. No, it's this way. So I'm going to wind it onto the thread anti-clockwise, I think that is. Yeah, anti-clockwise, because if not, as soon as you go and thread it in the actual fitting, it will try to undo itself. Put a reasonable amount on. And then this one is going to be going to the actual plasma torch. Don't over tighten these, because this is only like pot metal, and you'll easily strip the threads if you're not careful. Yeah, so I'm just going to put some PTFE on this pneumatic fitting, so hopefully it won't leak. Just time to fit it onto the back of the machine. So we need to cut a piece of this off to go from here up to the pressure gauge connection. Okay, so in the bag you also get a couple of hose fittings as well. Okay, so there we go, I finally got it connected. Alright, so we've got the one hose here, coming from the torch, which goes to the front connection for your torch, come around here into the right hand side here, and then we've got the pressure gauge coming out of the unit up here, which is on the front of the machine, and the tube is coming around here and into the pneumatic fitting on the back here. It was quite difficult to get this hose over these barbed fittings. I think they went a bit tight, but bloody hell, that took a lot. I actually had to heat the tube up to be able to stretch it over the actual barbed fittings. So yeah, that was quite a struggle actually. But yeah, I've got that connected up. So I just got to wire a plug on now, and hopefully then I'll be able to switch it on, see if it works, and do a test with it. Right, so I actually had to take it apart because once I got the air hose hooked up, it was actually leaking from this fitting here, so I've had to put some PTFE around it. Anyhow, I got that back together and it's holding pressure now, no leaks, so yeah, that's good. Okay, so this is the air compressor that I'm going to be using. This is just a really cheap 50 litre compressor which I bought off eBay a couple of years ago. You'll be able to use a 25 litre as well because I've seen other people use them. You may be able to use smaller, I'm not sure, but yeah, this is a 50 litre anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to connect the torch up. So I don't know if you know this, but the plastic bit that comes in the box, if you didn't know what it was, it actually fits onto the torch lead on the air side, so it makes it easier to tighten it on there, so you don't have to use a spanner. And then just plug the lead in for the switch on the torch, and then plug your ground cable in. And then we're almost ready to go. We've just got to set the air compressor up. Right, so we're just going to connect the air hose to the back here. I put this quick connect on here to make it easier to fit to my compressor. So that's on there, and then the regulator, which is on the top here. You've got the water trap down here, which you need to empty when it gets filled with water. Well, empty it every time I would. The regulator, the knob on here, you need to pull it up to be able to adjust it, and then you can turn it and adjust the pressure to the pressure required. Okay, so now all we've got to do is just adjust the pressure up to 4 bar or 60 psi. I've had mine slightly above 60 psi. So just going to pull the knob up on the regulator and adjust the pressure up to just over 4 bar. Round about there. So now we're ready to use it. Okay, so I thought I'd just show you how the torch assembly goes together, just in case you've taken it apart and you're not entirely sure how it goes back together. So first you need to put the electrode in, and then you want the little ceramic swirl ring, and then you want the tip, and you want the shield cup which goes on top of there, and tighten it down. All these consumables here I bought from Banggood.com. They're really cheap on there, so I'll put a link in the description just in case you're interested. It didn't come with this box, but this is just one of those cheap boxes from Poundland. brilliant idea. My cane button. Good. We'll do that. Right then, so it's approximately 2 weeks since I started this video, and so far it's been going absolutely fine. Haven't had a problem with it. I've cut quite a lot of steel with it, mainly sheet steel, 0.9mm, and the max I've cut with it is 7mm steel, and it's worked absolutely flawlessly. I've had it set to 30 amps basically all the time, and I've had the pressure set to 4 bar, and that seems to have been working perfectly fine really. Haven't had a problem with it. On the top plate it says it's a 100% duty cycle at 30 amps, and I would say that's probably pretty much true. As far as I can tell, because I've cut a lot of steel with it continuously for more than 10 minutes and it hasn't cut out once. So the consumables, this is the second set of consumables that I've used, and this set here is the extended consumables. They're just longer than the normal ones, and I've cut quite a lot of steel with this. I've still got the original ones as well, which I was using, and that's still okay. They work fine. It's just that it was a bit dirty and stuff, and I didn't have a wire brush with me at the time to brush it off, so I just switched them out. But these ones still work, so still keeping those just in case I need them. But yeah, I've cut quite a lot of steel with them, and they seem to hold up pretty well. I mean, I do drag it along the workpiece quite a lot, so obviously that's going to wear them out quicker, I think, than if you like hover over the top of your workpiece. But yeah, that seems to be pretty good. Haven't had any problem with the torch so far. It seems to be holding up well. Did give it a bit of a clean for this video because it was a bit dirty, had some mud on it and that. But yeah, it's been doing quite well. I did actually buy a different torch for it just in case this one gets damaged. It takes the same consumables, but it's a different style of torch. It's got the torch button on the front here. But yeah, pretty happy with it so far. Obviously the only problems I had with it really was the pressure gauge on the front of the machine. It was leaking out the back of the pressure gauge, and as soon as I put some PTFE tape on the back of that connection and tightened it back up, it's been absolutely fine so far. It's holding pressure well. Haven't had a problem with the hoses on it or anything popping off. The hoses are probably about the only bit that I don't really like about the machine, because they're all sticking out the back there. Not really that keen with the way that These are attached to the back, the moisture trap and the regulator, but for the money paid for it, I suppose that's pretty decent really. It works well, so can't complain at the moment. Considering it was like £150, and if you want to get a decent one, you're talking minimum of like 600 up to over, you know, £1,500. So yeah, I think that's a pretty decent little machine, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. So if you've got any questions you want to ask about this machine, just post them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them. Alright then, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.